everybody wants to be that mega star. Everybody's trying to take the place of Floyd Mayweather and become the face of boxing. And I feel like, you know, this takes me on the right track to become the face of boxing and become the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Errol Spence, nicknamed The Truth, is boxing's next self-proclaimed pound-for-pound superstar. The Texas native, known for his punishing style, power, and vicious body shots, makes him a viable candidate to replace boxing's mega superstar, Floyd Money Mayweather, as he plans to clean out the division and crown himself king. Due to a close split decision with veteran Sean Showtime Porter, most say that is easier said than done. Recovering from a near-death car accident, most wonder if Errol Spence has what it takes to climb the mountain at the 147-pound division. Leaving most to wonder, does the Texan Southpaw still has what it takes to solidify his claim? And a fight with Danny Swift Garcia will give us a peek into that window.
The bird, man. Crazy ain't. This is November 21st. We purging, baby. Woo! Woo! Ah! I'm purging tonight. I'm purging. Don't start crying. Ah! Purging. Bird, man. Listen, man. Start helping these young boys. I leave the king sleep, man. You know, don't wake the king up, man. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Bird! Ah.
84.
Garcia is no walk in the park. This Philadelphia native loves to mix it up, and he's good on the inside. He has a nice overhand right and a sick left hook that will pose problems for the champion. He is also not reluctant to get into a dogfight, which in all actuality is where he does some of his best work. With his rapid fire punches from all angles, keeps his opponent offset and deems very effective. Although Danny Garcia has been criticized for some of his level of opposition, this guy is no weak opponent by a long shot, and I think is the perfect test for the return of Errol Spence Jr. now when it comes to the fight of Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence, to me, I think this fight is really going to boil down to what version of who comes in to fight. I think it's going to boil down to condition and what kind of fighter we are going to see. I don't know how Errol Spence is going to show up, and at the same time, I don't know how Danny Garcia is going to show up. Danny Garcia is not that active as it is, and you got to keep your tools sharp. So at the end of the day, it's going to depend on what version of these guys step into the ring, and it's going to depend on what kind of nutrition they got also. Now, when it comes to Danny Garcia, if Danny Garcia chooses to bring the fight to Errol Spence, he's going to cause Errol Spence problems. Because as you've seen when the Sean Porter fight, Errol Spence can freeze. And I just think Danny Garcia just got more experience and is better on the inside than Errol Spence. Danny, with his good overhand right and his good left hook, there's no way that Errol Spence is going to escape either one of those punches. He's going to get hit with both of them throughout the fight. That's without a doubt. It just depends on how he's going to react after that. I just know if he freezes, Danny Garcia is going to take full advantage of that, and he's going to unload those rabbit punches. And if Danny Garcia chooses to stay on the outside, then that's more of Errol Spence's game. I can see him clearly going to the body and putting Danny on his bike. But if Danny chooses to bring the fight to him, then that's going to be the interesting part. And Danny does have the capability of dropping Errol Spence. I don't doubt that at all. But once again, we don't know what kind of Errol Spence we are going to see. So to a certain degree, people are going to chalk it up to ring rust and him, just coming off this car accident. And, I will take that into consideration. But at the same time, if he does struggle or have a really hard time or even loses to Danny Garcia, he did have an opportunity to take a tune-up fight and nobody was going to knock him for it. But at the same time, I also praise him for not taking a tune-up fight and going into this fight, just basically straight, just fresh off the hospital bed. So I do give him props for that. But I think if Danny Garcia brings the fight to him, he's going to do good in the fight. But if he stays on the outside and let Errol Spence dictate the fight and let Errol Spence go to his body, which he's known to do, that's one of the things that I'll do to Danny. It'll be Errol Spence's fight. But if Danny Garcia wants to be successful with Errol Spence, he's going to have to take the fight to Errol Spence, and he's going to have to use his angles because Errol Spence is a very flat-footed fighter. He needs to plant and sit down on every punch that he throws. So if you work your angles with him, stay in on the inside because he's not better than him at that, you will have some success with Errol Spence. But like I said, a lot of this depends on what kind of fighter we're going to see in Errol Spence. But nonetheless, it is a good test. It is a good measuring stick, and we will see. So when it comes to the fight, that's basically where I'm going with it. Now, when I ultimately have to pick, I would believe that Errol Spence will beat Danny Garcia, without too much of a problem. But at the same time, what I know of Errol Spence, and I'm a little bit more critical of Errol Spence than most people, I know Danny Garcia can give him that work. Danny Garcia also put up a good fight with Sean Porter himself. Even though Sean Porter etched out that win, Danny Garcia is no stranger to this. I just hope when he gets into trouble that Errol Spence don't start to go to that low blows. To me, that spoke volumes because when he was in trouble, he resulted to dirty fighting. That means he did not have an answer technically for Sean Porter. And I easily see Danny Garcia posing the same questions to him. And I wonder, will he go that same route? Because the way he just froze up and just put his hands up and just had no answer for Sean Porter, that's forever burned into my brain. And I know if I was Danny Garcia and I was his team, I would be studying that Sean Porter fight left, right, up, and down because it spoke a lot and it revealed a lot. It shows that once you start to step up in competition, you don't look as good or you're not as invincible as people think that you are. So the only thing that they have to do is just be aggressive, work the angles, drop that overhand right and drop that hook on Errol Spence. And for the most part, it'll be their fight. Now, it may sound like I'm leaning towards Danny, but I still got Errol Spence in this because I still believe he's the bigger, stronger guy. And I believe if he catch him right, if he go to Danny's body, he can put him on the bike and he can put him out. But like I said, once again, this all depends on which version of these fighters show up. So to tell you the truth, it's a 50-50 fight for me, But that's just my opinion. Leave your opinion in the comment section. Who's Vane? I'm out.